menu. You heard that right. These burritos on a value meal with everything under $3. Look at Del Taco hooking us up.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers' bad shooting Tuesday night led to a blowout loss in Dallas. The Mavericks didn't have Kyrie Irving or Luka Doncic and still beat the Lakers by 21. Anthony Davis led the Lakers with 21 points, but he missed 11 of 18 shots. Austin Reeves missed 9 of 14. The Clippers are at Denver tonight. Denver guard Russell Westbrook had 26 points last night in the Nuggets' home loss to Boston. Westbrook would still look good in a Clippers uniform. UCLA's women's basketball team, number 1 in the country for 7 weeks, cruised to an 83-49 win at Purdue. 17 points and 7 rebounds for Lauren Betts. The NFL started the season with 6 black head coaches. That number is down to 4. The Las Vegas Raiders fired Antonio Pierce Tuesday after a 4-13 finish in his first season. New England's Gerard Mayo was also fired after his first season. The Patriots finished 4-13. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is for all the folks who appreciate follow-through. Here's a quick recap of the KBLA Talk 1580 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. More than 6.4 million Southern Californians viewed our climate justice billboards and bus shelters. Another 1.5 million people listened to and or downloaded our weekly conversations with African-American climate experts. Our KBLA Climate Justice web portal had 2.8 million unique visitors. Thousands more attended our 7 climate justice community events. More than 9.3 million riders saw our climate care messaging on metro buses and trains. And 39 million Americans accessed our C-SPAN Climate Justice Symposium. All told, our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign exceeded 471 million total impressions. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks all of our 2024 Climate Justice partners: LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Sierra Club, California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., the California Wellness Foundation, MWD, AQMD, and the Port of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
What is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth. We just stand up and fight, walk into the night. We're the people, we can do it if we try. Somebody ask me, why do we have to go through it? It's just a test of our faith. But we're living day to day. We don't know where, we don't know when. But he's coming back again. Oh, yes, he is. It's leading me. Oh, God, it's time for you to return. Oh, me.
Hello and welcome to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. We are so glad that you are here with us on this day. Dr. West.
What a blessing. You know, it's always a joy for me to work with you, talk with you, set eyes on you, and revel in your humanity. I'm telling you. But I do want to say, yesterday I made a big mistake, and none of us have a monopoly on truth. In Truth Time, we want to make sure everybody's telling the full truth. And I talked about the grand Bernard Bell, who co-wrote the song that we just heard with Marvin and Carvin, Winans, and with Ted Riley. And I said that Bernard was the husband of the great Regina Bell. He's the brother of the great Regina Bell. We want the world to know that. Sister Regina's married to John Battles, great athlete as well as grand pastor at ATL in Atlanta. And Deborah, who, Brother Bernard died just a couple of years ago. Let us never forget him. But Deborah is beloved wife of Bernard. So we just want to make that clear. And that's very important. I know people might think that's a small detail, but not to us.
Not to us. And thank you so much for clearing that up. Dr. West, now we know that a lot of trials and tribulations are going on in this country and in this world, but one in particular that we want to talk to our audience about is what is happening in LA.
Yeah, isn't that true? You know, my dear sister, 1947, one of the greatest novels in the history of the 20th century, was written in Pacific Palisades, right now where that fire started, right now where the winds are concentrated. Now it's connected to San Fernando and Santa Ana as well. And I'm praying for Anna Heat, to my beloved wife. She got to deal with those Santa Ana winds taking place right now. But that novel was about the unbelievable decay, the unbelievable lack of accountability, and the refusal to engage in the truth about the world. And what is happening right now is, in many ways, a refusal to come to terms about the truth of ecological crisis. The climate change is real. It is out of control. The fossil fuel company is out of control, and there's no way in which we can generate the kind of public funds required to make sure that when these crises hit, that citizens are able to continually live lives of dignity and decency. We don't have enough money right now to even deal with the levels of water, the expanding fire. We're running out of personnel to deal with the fire. So that these issues that especially precious folk of all colors in the LA area having to come to terms with are not just irrational, accidental phenomena, but they really are connected to not investing in a significant way with public funds to deal with these kinds of crises, to deal with these kind of catastrophes, precisely the kind of thing that Thomas Mann was talking about in 1957 in Pacific Palisades with that great magnificent novel of his, Dr. Faustus.
That is exactly right, Dr. West. And so our heart goes out to the people who are suffering. And we know that when crises like this take hold of our nation and the world, the poorest among us are the ones who suffer the most, because they don't have the resources just to pick up and leave on the whim. And we tend to forget that. And in a hegemonic nation like ours, there's no excuse for us not to have the infrastructure and the ways and the means. And if we balance what we have based on the needs of the least of these, as I talk about all the time, then everything would be okay. We are not a poor nation. We are a wealthy nation, but we're directing that wealth in ways that does not edify the least of these. Climate chaos is real. It is created primarily by mankind and humankind, and we need to do a better job. Dr. West, could you imagine if we marshaled our resources as a hegemonic nation with other leaders of the world and focused not so much on war, not so much on conquest, but if the industrial nations of the world took up the mantle to deal with climate chaos,
Absolutely.
Wow, it would be a much better place for all of us.
If we had funds, 1/3 of those we spend on military, we would not only have to be able to deal with poverty and homelessness and a lot of other universal health care and so forth, but we fortify ourselves as a people, as a species, against ecological crisis and try to minimize the impact given the obsession right now of profits of fossil fuel companies and other contributors. The major contributor actually to ecological crisis is the military.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people don't know that. So again, hearts, prayers, everything goes out. This is when you really need government to step in to do collectively what we cannot do as individuals. So when people talk about less government, smaller government, we want you to think about when crises like this strike, oh no, you want government fully involved, fully engaged, so that we can carry out the type of love and justice that so many people deserve. So glad again that you have tuned in with us. You have joined us on Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and myself on KBLA 1580. As we move forward, the other topics that we are going to cover today, McDonald's rolls back its DEI goals. And so our question is, what does that mean for the rest of corporate America and all of the previous investments that they made, especially after the death of George Floyd, or the murder, I should say, of George Floyd, in hanging up that banner of "We are diverse" and, oh, by the way, we love Black people. What does that mean that McDonald's has decided to do that? Because we know that other corporations are going to follow suit. Meta is ending its fact checking program. Imagine that. It seems as though they are bending to the will of President-elect Donald J. Trump. We're going to do a deep dive into what that means for us as a nation and us as a world. If people could just be on social media lying through their teeth, what does that mean for us? And President-elect Donald J. Trump warns, quote, all hell is going to break loose if the hostages are not released before his inauguration. Ooh, we got so much to talk about on this day. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. You are listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Speaking truth to power and to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Somebody bring out the confetti, baby!
Starting Monday, January 6th, KBLA Talk 1580 has a new midday lineup.
I'm excited.
Are you ready for Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornel West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, and E. Cordelai Corte back-to-back?
Oh my God.
Are you really ready for all this smoke?
I'm ready, brother.
Yes, we still have Dominique DePrima in the mornings and Zoe Williams in the evenings, but middays just got lit on KBLA Talk 1580.
We on fire.
All across America, people are talking about our new midday lineup. Starting Monday, January 6th, our KBLA 1580 app downloads are on fire because everybody's going to be tuning in.
Yes, I love you guys. You are the bomb.
Now would be a good time to hit up SMB at KBLA1580.com if you want folks to hear about your business or brand. That's SMB at KBLA1580.com. It's going up in 2025 on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's going up.
That's what I want.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-9651. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And Black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Before we move forward, Dr. West, do you know that Rick Caruso, who ran against now Mayor Karen Bass, he's in his feelings. He's a billionaire. He ran against her. He spent over $100 million in that race. He lost. Do you know he got the nerve to be blaming her for what is happening right now with the fires? That's what this man is doing. He's all up in his feelings. He couldn't accept defeat graciously. So now he wants to blame the Black woman. We have a clip that we want to share with our audience. Miles, please play that clip.
My heart goes out, obviously, to the people with their homes, and I'm watching the small businesses around us go up in flames. This is people's livelihoods, so it's devastating. But what is most concerning to me is our first responders and our firefighters who are trying to battle this. There's no water in the Palisades. There's no water coming out of the fire hydrants. This is an absolute mismanagement by the city. It's not the firefighters' fault, but it's by the city. And I'm going to be very honest. We've got a mayor that's out of the country, and we've got a city that's burning, and there's no resources to put out fires. So if you look at your pictures, you don't see the firefighters there because there's nothing they can do. And it looks like we're in a third world country here. Mm-hmm. And we've got a lot of tough questions that we need to ask the mayor and the city council and our representatives and the county representatives. Why didn't you work to mitigate this? What was your brush mitigation program? I heard you earlier talking about it's been dry because there hasn't been rain. That's not the biggest problem here. The brush up in these hills that are controlled by the city and the county, I would bet you that if they haven't been handled, mitigated, pruned, removed for probably 30 or 40 years. This was a disaster waiting to happen. And what's predictable is preventable. And who's paying the price are all of these people in their homes and their businesses tonight. Now, we'll rebuild. But the majority of this community is going to have a tough time rebuilding their lives.
This is an example, Dr. West, of some of the worst kind of politics. When people are suffering the way that they are, you want to blame a mayor who really just got there. I mean, he's contradicting himself all the way through his comments. I mean, first you said this is 30 or 40 years in the making, and then you want to fast forward and blame the mayor, the Black female mayor of the Palisades. You want to blame the mayor. It just doesn't make sense, Dr. West. If he really cared, he would have been working on this many years ago. This didn't just happen yesterday. The only true thing that he said was that this is decades in the making. And so it goes to how we opened up in terms of the lack of investment in infrastructure over decades to help to deal with these types of events. Doc, what you thinking about this? And Rick Caruso.
Yeah, well, I mean, one is that, you see, Caruso, you know, he's been spreading mendacious rumors and lying about folk for a long, long time. Even my dear brother Mark Ridley Thomas, in many ways, has been affected by what he has said, and now he's dealing with the mayor too. He wanted to be mayor more than anything else, and he couldn't buy the office, and therefore he responds at this very, very low level of mendacity and envy. And we have to be very clear about this. This is truth time. We tell the truth, and the truth can hurt. And this doesn't have nothing to do with hating him. It has nothing to do with trashing him. He's got to confront the truth. And the truth is, in fact, that yes, parts of America are third world-like parts. When's the last time he was in parts of South Central? When the last time was he in parts of East LA? When the last time he was in parts of Compton? It's been like that for a long time. And what's distinctive about third world countries are callous, fast-talking billionaires who live in their gated spaces and think that they can go through life of comfort and convenience and not have to deal with some of the underside of the unjust social structure they sit at the top of. So that in a way, it's very revealing. And we're going to see more of this. It's not just a matter of Caruso. We're going to see more of this kind of language during the Trump era of people who are talking about the carnage in America and who's responsible? Immigrants. Oh, so the well-to-do have no responsibility? Interesting. We're in an ecological crisis, and the fundamental cause is a mayor. Now, the mayor needs to be criticized if she's not doing certain things. I have no problem with that. But to go there as the fundamental factor.
As his jump-off point.
Absolutely.
That's his political jump-off point. I mean, it's a political jump-off point. We do understand exactly what he's doing. He does have the means and the resources to be part of the solution. A better way to deal with this would have been, I don't even know why he's being interviewed in the first place.
That's a wonderful question, why people go to him. But we're in a moment now, my dear sister, where People think the richest are necessarily the smartest, and the smartest now are necessarily those who should have the most power. That's true for Elon Musk and Bezos and a whole host of them, you see. And so we have to get used to these kinds of pathetic moments, because they're going to increase, they're going to intensify, and we have to increase and intensify with our truth telling, increase and intensify with our courage, intense and intensify with our attempt to serve the least of these.
That's exactly right. So, Dr. West, if Caruso, again, really cared, if he really cared, because there is a way to care and there is a way to critique, it just seems very convenient for him to come out this strong against Mayor Karen Bass. And it shows a type of cowardice, and also that he got hurt feelings. You a billionaire, you got hurt feelings. As you said, Doc, that he could not buy the election. If he truly cared about the people who are suffering right now, he would have called. Sometimes you don't call people out, you call them up. He could call up the mayor and say, Mayor Bass, I would like to partner with you. The people that we love and the community that we love are in crisis, like in deep crisis right now. And how may I serve? How may I serve you? How may I serve the residents? But instead, he wants to put all of it, not just a little bit, all of the blame on Mayor Karen Bass, and that is not acceptable.
And what you say presupposes a spiritual maturity and a moral high development that seems to be, and I think actually is lacking, and not just Caruso, but much of the billionaire class. I don't believe in generalizing. Billionaire class can actually have some isolated individuals who are spiritually mature, who do exactly what you say. But for the most part, when you get that high, the coldness has set in, the chilliness has set in, your conscience is coarsened, your heart is hardened, and the arrogance and the hubris have set in, you see. But he can change. He can be different. He doesn't have to be locked in the coldness. He can change. We know that everybody has a capacity for changing, but we're talking about a structure. We're talking about a system.
Yeah, we really are. It's such a shame. Well, hopefully he's watching Truth Time or listening to Truth Time, and he'll pick up some of these tidbits and have a change of heart and pick up the phone and call Mayor Bass. It's still time for that. He can do that and say, how may I serve you and our community? Let's hope that he does that. So as we continue to move forward with Truth Time, Doc, we got to talk about President Donald J. Trump, President-elect President Trump, same thing, interchangeable. This is his second term. I think there was only one other president, I believe, that had a non-consecutive term, and I think that was Grover. President
Cleveland.
Yeah, Grover right. Cleveland. So he, in some ways he's making history as he goes along. He's big about bragging about how he's making history. In that case, he can say, because there's only been two, he's number 2 in winning the presidency and serving non-consecutively. But President Donald J. Trump has thrown down the gauntlet and made it clear that there will be hell to pay, to quote him, absolute hell to pay, if Gaza hostages aren't released before his inauguration. Now, it's important that folks understand, I'm sure that our audience understands everything that has happened from October 7th to this very moment, but the type of bravado that President-elect Trump is using coming in the door should be very, very telling to us. And the only time since this war began that hostages were exchanged, I want folks to follow us on this, that hostages were exchanged, because absolutely the hostages should be released. The only time they were exchanged is when there was a brief pause in the killing.
Ceasefire.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Because you can't exchange hostages with bombs overhead. I mean, that's just common sense. It just makes a whole lot of sense. So why doesn't he lay into that a little more? I mean, certainly the Biden administration has failed epically on this, but it really is common sense. But my grandmother used to say common sense ain't common. That is very true. But legitimately, no matter how people fall on this issue, the only time there was an exchange of hostages is when there was that brief pause they had.
Well, the thing about it is, first, we just have to acknowledge the move from George Washington to Donald Trump shows, in fact, that Charles Darwin was wrong in his evolutionary theory that the passage of time leads towards some increase of betterment. And George Washington, slaveholder himself, Indian killer himself, but courageous against the British imperialists. And I give him that credit. But now with Donald Trump, you know, he's moving from a high point to a very, very low point. And the high point of George Washington is already low for us because our people are enslaved. We're on plantations. Indigenous people being killed. Now, what does that mean? That means, in fact, then, that when he talks about the hell that's going to take place, it's already a hell. It's already an inferno. When you have 17,000 children killed who are innocent, you have over 50,000 people who are killed. You have every university, as we mentioned, demolished, hospitals demolished, housing demolished, 2.3 million people displaced. And he said, but they're going to really catch hell when he comes in up the hospital. The hell is already there. All you have is rabble. And if you're serious about exchange of hostages, then you got to get serious about the dignity of those Palestinian peoples who are undergoing the hell. And that hell has been taking place since 1948 and before, not just October 7th. And so we have to be very vigilant in our truth telling when it comes to what Trump is talking about as he makes his way to the White House, and make sure that he creates less hell here in America and around the world and in Gaza too.
And we cannot war our way to peace. And I just don't understand why that is a complicated concept for folks to understand. Of course, the innocent Israelis deserve to be released. They should have never been captured as hostages in the first place. People like myself and Dr. West have been saying this from the beginning. And there has to be a peace and love equally for the Palestinian people who are suffering. Over 40,000 of them killed thus far. And that's probably an undercount. And we're not even taking into consideration the famine, the dirty water, the disease that many of them have to live with. So that this really is a deep-rooted situation, and it seems like President Donald J. Trump is willing to pour the gasoline on the fire, just as the Biden administration has done. Well, when we come forward, we're going to finish our conversations. We're going to talk about McDonald's. We're going to talk about Meta. Yeah, we're going to do all that, baby, on Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
I'm not driving you, baby.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The fire in the hills above Pasadena, California has rapidly grown to 10,600 acres, up from 2,200. Los Angeles County and city fire officials confirmed 2 civilian deaths and at least 100 structures destroyed. Rapper Jay-Z has filed a motion in a rape lawsuit accusing attorney Tony Busby of not investigating claims that he and Diddy drugged and raped a woman in 2000. The accuser admitted to some inconsistencies but stands by her story. San Francisco, California is reporting its lowest crime since 2001. Outgoing Black Mayor London Breed cites a 31% drop in property crime and a 14% drop in violent crime, crediting a new DA and improved technology. And the public is honoring former President Jimmy Carter as he lies in state at the U.S. Capitol until Thursday morning. Carter will be remembered in a state funeral at Washington National Cathedral, where President Biden will deliver a eulogy. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Del Taco's new Chipotle Chicken Burrito and Bean Rice and Cheese Burrito, packed with flavor, made with fresh ingredients, and found on Del's Real Deals menu. You heard that right. These burritos on a value meal with everything under $3. Look at Del Taco, hooking us up.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL is monitoring the wildfires that are burning in several areas inside the city limits of Los Angeles. The league wants to be sure of the air quality for Monday night's playoff game between the Rams and Minnesota Vikings at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. The Rams were not scheduled to practice today. They have tentative plans to practice tomorrow, depending on the conditions. The Chargers, who have a playoff game at Houston on Saturday, adjusted their practice routine today to limit the amount of time players and staff were outside. The Chargers are scheduled to leave for Houston on Friday. The family of Lakers coach J.J. Redick was forced to evacuate their home in Pacific Palisades Tuesday night. Pacific Palisades is one of the areas hardest hit by the wildfires. The Lakers returned to L.A. Tuesday night after their loss in Dallas. They are scheduled to play Charlotte Thursday night at Crypto.com. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way Black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like the style, though. The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant addiction. They can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. This holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the company of family and friends and create special moments. Find a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Thanks to the generous support of the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation, we were able to donate 545 pounds of coats and blankets to the LA Mission this winter season.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
The LA Mission expressed its deep gratitude for our gift all over social media, but we wish to thank them and all the other service providers who look out daily for the less fortunate in our community, finding our happy by being helpful.
Hallelujah.
We're KBLA Talk 1580, where we do more than just talk.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the propane tank on your grill first before hosting a tailgate.
Let's fire up. Here, let me try. Seriously? You didn't check the propane? Who wants chips?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
I'm back.
Moving forward, always, backwards, never. So, Dr. West, there's a call right now for a moment of silence, reflection, and compassion for the residents of Southern California. And that moment of silence, reflection, and compassion will take place at 3 p.m. PST time. That, again, 3 p.m. Pacific time. That is very much warranted, Doc.
Oh, absolutely. No, our prayers go out Very much so. And for me, in the name of Jesus, be with our brothers and sisters of all colors and sexual orientations and classes and region in this LA area to make sure that they are able to be safe and in the end be able to flower and flourish. But at the same time, we got to keep our social analysis in place. It doesn't have to be this bad if the priority were on common good and public interest.
True that. True that. And it's always the right time to do what is right. And so, seeing this kind of suffering, hopefully, people are not suffering in vain, that there will be new actions taken by government. I mean, government is designed for us to do collectively what we cannot do as individuals, and no individuals can deal, not any one person or group of one persons can do anything about this singularly. Nobody can. It is going to take government to step in and to step in strong. So, Doc, amen to all of that. Before we get to the rest of our conversation today, we want to acknowledge that there are tons of people watching us live on YouTube and commenting. We really do appreciate you and what you have to say. And starting next week, we're going to bring some of those comments and questions into full view while Dr. West and I are doing this thing live, Doc. I mean, we got them jumping over there on YouTube.
No, that's wonderful.
They ready for some truth time.
No, we bear witness, whatever the context is, and whosoever will, let them come. But most importantly, we getting fortified. We are ready and prepared, and we going to the end. We will be faithful unto death.
Unto death. That fortification, that is indeed a beautiful thing. And speaking of fortification, this is the total opposite of that. Meta is ending its fact-checking program. And the question becomes, should we be concerned that America doesn't care about the truth, or that Americans may not be able to differentiate between what is fact, what is fiction, what is true, and what are lies? And as Brother Tavis said on the show yesterday, that America is, and Doc, this is it right now. We're about to wrap all our mind around this. Then what Brother Tavis said, he said, America is a lie-loving country. No lie there.
Oh, Brother Tavis. Woo, that brother courageous, stepping out and telling the truth. It reminds me of that line in Du Bois's great essay of 1920, The Souls of White Folk. You know, he wrote the classic Souls of Black Folk, 1903, but 1920 he wrote one called Souls of White Folk. He said, America, for the most part, has been predicated on the efficacy of lies. And I think Tavis is pulling from that moment in Du Bois, the efficacy of lies. Now, thank God, there's always been a cloud of witnesses of all colors who shatter those lies, not just by telling the truth, but living a life of truth in organizational form and in the individual mode. We've always had truth tellers and justice keepers who are willing to shatter those lies. But when you're a lie-loving country, you normalize mendacity, you naturalize telling lies, and you think that's the only way to be in the world. So the truth is completely shattered. But as we hear in the advertisement, truth crushed the earth shall rise again. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future. And behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. Ooh, Lord. That's Brother Martin and Fannie Lou. That's Rabbi Heschel and Edward Zaid. That's Dorothy Day. That's Philip Berrigan. That's Truth Time. That's Sister Nina Turner. Senator, sister, comrade, freedom fighter, truth teller.
And that's deep, Doc, no matter how we cut it and the names we add to the list. You make me think of something that my grandma used to say. I'm going to be pulling grandma in a lot during our journey. But one of her Motherwick quotes, you can put truth in the river 5 days after lie, but truth gone, G-O-N, catch up.
Ooh, Lord. That come out of grandma.
Yes.
And your grandmother's first name was?
Inez, my maternal grandmother, her first name, Inez.
Lord, is that a Hudson?
Emerson.
Emerson.
Yeah, her married name. Her maiden name was Harris, but you know, them Southern grandmamas, they studied from the same, they studied at the same school.
I got one too. Ooh, I got T. Rose and Lovey. Oh, Gwen. Oh, I got two of them. I got two grandmamas from the South.
Yes, I do too. My paternal grandmother, same thing, hailing from Georgia. Johnny May.
Johnny May. But see, that's the kind of revolutionary piety we want, because piety is a virtual acknowledgement of the sources of good in our lives, and we are indebted to those sources of good. And it's the grandmamas and granddaddies and aunts and uncles and teachers, and then the Martin Kings and Fannie Lou's and others who constitute wind at our back, because we are a pietistic people. We are grounded in the best that's been poured into us. And then we pour it into the younger generation fighting these evils and rulers of darkness in the world, you see. And we don't lose sight of the humanity of anybody, but we are concerned about the dehumanization of everybody.
As well, we should be, because the moment we start being concerned about others, it really is something that shakes our very selves. We are really very much all connected. So the thing is, for me, why would anybody celebrate? Why was Zuckerberg? And let me remind our audience that Meta owns the platforms, just in case. They own Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Threads. And so in the United States, the users come up to about almost 194 million users in the United States of America. The daily active people is about 80% of the people who use Meta products monthly also log in daily. And so the fact that Zuckerberg and company have really conformed themselves to what President-elect Donald J. Trump wants is very telling. We have our social media, our regular media controlled by the few. And so therefore, the opportunity to be able to propagate, put out a whole bunch of propaganda,
that's right.
It puts us all in peril in that way. But why would anybody, I'm trying to understand this, why would anybody not want the American people to get the facts?
Oh, I mean, one is that they want to make money. I mean, the sad thing is that money really is the god of too much of the powers that be, and it spills over to everyday people too. There's forms of idolatry that cut so deep, so that McDonald's eliminating DEI. How come? They not gonna make more money if they hold on to DEI, because they reading the spirit of the times, and the spirit of the time is against issues of coming to terms with race and gender and so forth. They would accommodate themselves to fascism. They would accommodate themselves to authoritarianism. They would accommodate themselves to any system that allows them to still make their big money. And that's what they have to realize, that, there's blowback, that sooner or later, those kind of chickens come home to roost.
There it is, truth. Putting the river 5 days after lie. Truth gonna catch up, and
truth gonna catch up.
Truth gonna catch up.
Grandma in there, she understood.
Yes, she did. And I mean, people are actually celebrating the fact that there will not be any types of fact checking going on. And to me, it is incongruent to Trump always out there shouting from the rooftop that there's some type of falseness going on in the media. The fake news is what he calls it, when he is, in fact, by his actions, by his pressure, by the fact that Meta is caving, they are promoting fake news.
That's right. That's exactly right. But, on the other hand, the fact checking that was in place wasn't the strongest thing in the world.
That's true. Well, hopefully,
you know what I mean?
I do. And
that
hopefully
lies tied to money and power, they have a way of getting through all kind of nooks and crannies.
It's dangerous. It is a powerful force, but so are we here at Truth Time. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, we will talk about McDonald's, DEI, and all things diversity.
Love it, love it, love it.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Somebody bring out the confetti, baby!
Starting Monday, January 6th, KBLA Talk 1580 has a new midday lineup.
I'm excited.
Are you ready for Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornel West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, and E. Cordelai Corte back-to-back?
Oh, my God.
Are you really ready for all this smoke?
I'm ready, brother.
Yes, we still have Dominique DePrima in the mornings and Zoe Williams in the evenings, but middays just got lit on KBLA Talk 1580.
We on fire.
All across America, people are talking about our new midday lineup. Starting Monday, January 6th, our KBLA 1580 app downloads are on fire because everybody's going to be tuning in.
Yes, I love you guys. You are the bomb.
Now would be a good time to hit up SMB at KBLA1580.com if you want folks to hear about your business or brand. That's SMB at KBLA1580.com. It's going up in 2025 on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's going up.
That's what I want.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is it. What a day, what a day, what a day it has been. We want to remind our audience that there will be at 3 p.m. Pacific time a moment of silence for Southern California. It will be a moment of silence, reflection, and compassion. This is definitely needed because of the suffering that is going on. And again, our hearts go out to them. We want money and support to go out to them too. And the marshaling of the federal, state, regional, and local resources to try to ameliorate some of the pain. But you can join in wherever you are in that moment of silence, the moment of silence, reflection, and compassion, which will start at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So, Doc, we have talked about Trump and his warning, his all hell gonna break loose. We've had an opportunity to talk about Meta and the age of just let folks say whatever they want to say, and if they lying, if you ain't lying, you ain't trying. That's kind of where we're going. That's where we're going right now. If you ain't lying, you're not trying. And right now, we're going to talk about how McDonald's and other corporations are rolling back their DEI. Now, their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, just in case folks are wondering, what is that DEI all about? So now 4 years ago, McDonald's had this big push about diversity, equity, and inclusion. But now they're saying because of the 2023 ruling of the Supreme Court and citing the United States Supreme Court ruling that outlawed affirmative action and the backlash towards affirmative action, that they have no other choice but to roll back their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm just so confused about how you are going to roll back on something that is absolutely the right thing to do.
Well, you can see that there's no real moral fiber there. There's no real ethical content there. They were simply going with the breeze of the times. Our dear brother George Floyd Jr. had been publicly lynched. We had thousands and thousands of demonstrations, people of all colors, but disproportionately people of color. And therefore, they're reading the market. How are we going to make this money? We better enact some stronger programs, you see. And you say, well, wait a minute. Now, I thought that, in fact, you were making the connection between doing well and doing good. No, it's going to be the money. Now they're talking this. In fact, they're using the language more and more. This is a cultural tipping point. What do you mean, Zuckerberg? It's a cultural tipping point. Well, we don't have to deal with fairness when it comes to these people of color. We don't have to deal with fairness when it comes to women, or gay brothers and lesbian sisters, or trans, or whatever. You see, so fairness is just some afterthought. Interesting. Unfortunately, even in the Democratic Party, they couldn't push through the George Floyd bill. They couldn't push through the voting rights bill. They had control of both houses. No, they had other priorities too. I see. So in that sense, we are an afterthought. That just means we got to be more vigilant in our organizing. We got to be stronger in our truth telling, because it's clear that this issue of power is so entrenched that moral fiber is hard to be found, especially in high places.
That's it, Doc. And for corporations and also in our body politic, unfortunately, all of this is performative. But there's something to keep in mind. When the murder of George Floyd forced these companies to say, sign me up, I'm all in. What we do know, I want to flip that we consciousness can flip it, even though it's all performative. Because if it wasn't performative, companies like McDonald's and our federal politicians, especially, not exclusively, would be saying, you know what, Supreme Court, let us come up with something. See, the Supreme Court made a ruling, but the legislative body can come up with some different type of laws if they really wanted to. So we are going to keep the pressure up on these people. We don't want folks to get weary and well doing, but this backlash is real, and it is constant in the course of human history, that when we make some crooked path straight, there's always going to be a countervailing force trying to make the path crookeder again. And that is what we are facing. When we come forward, we are going to continue this conversation. You are listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Joe Fallon's bedroom mini fridge. Sure, this pint-sized chiller's max capacity is 3 soda cans, but what it lacks in stature, it makes up in cooling strength. Each beverage a perfect 37 degrees every time. And the 2 feet Joe walks to get a drink, priceless. That's why his mini fridge is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by
This
Pfizer.
statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I was always tired with weekly bouts of indigestion. A friend asked me, when was the last time you did a detox? Never, I said. So she recommended Active Liver.
Our liver works hard every day to remove toxins from processed foods and unclean air and water. But too many toxins can overwhelm the liver, causing it to actually store toxins in our body fat. Low energy, brain fog, headaches, bloating, and skin irritation are all telltale signs that we need to act. Water or juice fasts can help, but often require days or weeks of feeling tired and sick. Thankfully, there's an easier way. Active Liver from New Nordic is a natural supplement that helps your liver effectively eliminate toxins on a daily basis, leaving you feeling better with more energy and less bloating.
Within a week of taking Active Liver, I was feeling better, and now I have more energy than I've had in years.
Available in both tablet or delicious gummies, you can find Active Liver online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS or Meijer grocery.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
We've had a very robust conversation, per usual, on Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. If you have missed any part of this show, don't despair. All you got to do is download the KBLA Talk 1580 app, baby, and you can catch up with all of this wonderfulness. Doc, I want to remind our audience that a moment of silence, reflection, and compassion will take place at 3:00 p.m. Pacific time. You can join in anywhere in the world to just get good energy, good vibes, some good prayers for our sisters and brothers and family and friends who are suffering. Doc, some final thoughts to share with our audience today.
I just want people to always remember that it was less than 80 years ago that the Supreme Court condoned Jim Crow and Jane Crow and could not even muster support of a federal condemnation of lynching. And 165 years ago, that same Supreme Court condoned slavery. So when you talk about the law, corporations, citizens, there's a moral law that's deeper than just the Supreme Court. There is a natural law that's deeper than just the Supreme Court. And for those of us who are religious and Christian, there is a divine commandment and law that cuts deeper than any court.
That's
that
right.
means we're going to treat everybody with a love and a justice and a fairness and a kindness. And that's how we roll.
That's how we roll on Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. We will come forward with you tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. This is KBLA 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. The fire in the hills above Pasadena, California has rapidly grown to 10,600 acres, up from 2,200. Los Angeles County and city fire officials confirmed 2 civilians